Mammal. That's why you see them all cuddling right here, like taking a nap. And these are also babies. Well, not babies, juveniles. They were babies like a few months ago, but they are not officially adults now. They are younger than a year. So this is the high school for us. So high school is, of course, after they graduated from elementary school. Elementary school is when they get here as babies, as orphan babies. So when they are found abandoned by the mother, or the mother was killed for some reason, and they found the baby by himself, we pretty much need to be their surrogate mothers. So what we do, first of all, we feed them with syringes with goat milk. Our goal is to keep them alive. First of all, they need to survive. So we feed them with syringes of goat milk, which is very, very difficult because if we do it too fast, they can choke. If we do it too slow, they can aspirate, and for both reasons they will die. So we need to do it with a lot of patience, and that takes a lot of time. And you know they're mammals, so we have to do it like every 3 to 4 hours, just like a human baby.
Sure.
Yeah. And yes, so that's pretty much the first period of their training, when they are pretty much kept alive. And we put them together because they feel the warmth that they will feel with mom. You know, mother will carry them back in her back everywhere she goes, and they will just move to the front where they need to be nursed. So pretty much that's the first stage of their training, the elementary school, and then we bring them to high school. After the second month, 2.5 months maybe, mom will start encouraging them to go on the branches by themselves. So they will be able to show us that here, that they can actually move on the trees in these structures that we build with bamboo, with vines, ropes, branches. We bring also leaves from the jungle. Our volunteers, when they visit us from the release site, they bring us leaves, and some of the ones that they eat, like the mango and other species, and some of the ones that they don't eat, like the palms and the bananas. They may eat 100 different varieties of plants, but also this species eats insects and eggs. So they are strictly nocturnal, but they can be a little bit active in the daytime. But they will be more active at night. That's why you see them all cuddling right here. And they will live all their lives on the trees. So they're strictly arboreal. They will live on the highest part of the canopy, and that's where they will find their food. And they wouldn't go down the trees for any reason except for when they need to use the bathroom, when they need to relieve themselves. Imagine that they don't relieve themselves except for once a week or every 2 weeks. Yeah, so when they do it, they may lose up to 30% of their weight in one go.
Oh my god.
That is a big go in that case.
Yeah.
I mean, 30% of their weight is big go. So they don't do it from the top of the trees. If they did it from the top of the trees, that will be very, very noisy when it falls down to the ground, like breaking branches and leaves, and it will be very noisy, and other predators will detect them. So they do it silently. They climb down the tree and they relieve themselves on the ground, and then they go back up to the tree to stay safe from the predators. Sure. In Costa Rica, the predators are pretty much the wildcats, pumas, jaguars, ocelots. Those are the typical predators in Costa Rica. However, in other countries, they're also hunted by the harp eagles. Harp eagles are very big birds, which we don't have a lot in Costa Rica anymore, but in other countries like Colombia, Panama, Venezuela, there are reports of harp eagles hunting the sloths straight from the trees. In Costa Rica, they're pretty much safe on the trees, so their vulnerability is higher when they go to the ground. So we gotta make sure that not only they can relieve themselves on the ground, but that they have to go back up to the tree right away to stay safe from predators. So we do potty training for them. And that is funny because we first make sure that the belly is big and rigid. That means that they will be ready to go.
Yeah.
So we take them out on a tree and we wait for the adults to do it, so they know how to do it already. We poke a towel on their poop and then we bring them against their nose. And with that smell, they will feel like going.
Sure.
So they will start climbing down the tree, they find a place to relieve themselves, and then they go back up to the tree right away. That's one of the tests that we gotta do before we graduate them from to university. Yeah, they gotta show us pretty much 3 basic things. One, that they are eating the food that they will find in the wild. 2, that they are able to move along the branches in this structure, so that they will be able to reach other branches and just hang. Usually they hang upside down most of the time. And 3, that they can relieve themselves on the ground, just like a wild sloth will do. So those are pretty much the 3 basic test that we do before we move them to the next stage. We also have to wait for them to build up a little more. So once they're a year old, we will put them in separate enclosures. That is because in the wild, once they are a year old, mom will one day just disappear, just disperse, and just leave them alone. They're solitary animals, so they live all their lives by themselves. They don't really get together like this. Like, you will never see a bunch of sloths like this in the wild. Right now they're together here because, well, first of all, we need them to survive and also to feel warm. They will start detaching from people when they are adults, because when they are adults, they start getting aggressive. They don't want you around. They don't want you to like hold them or nothing. They will be very, very molested when those things happen. So they start getting more aggressive, and that's when we already have put them already in separate enclosures.